Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome along to One Hub Racing. We're here this evening for round one of what should be another fantastic season. We are here tonight. We are heading tonight to the Shanghai International Circuit in China, just on the outskirts of Shanghai, for what should be an excellent race here in One Hub Racing. I am joined tonight as per usual by Matthew. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's fantastic to be back racing properly in One Hub Racing, and you can expect to see plenty of overtaking opportunities, especially with that mile-long DRS straight at the back of the circuit. You can certainly line up moving to there, but I'm ready and raring to go. How are you?
I am doing quite good. We are getting ready to go here, folks. We are loading in. We start the stream at the perfect time, actually. We're getting ready to go here in Shanghai for what should be a fabulous race, actually. It's the opener. We've got some fantastic drivers on the grid, some old names, some returning names, and some names who you'll definitely remember from last season of One Hub Racing. And it should be a very exciting one, actually. It should be really, really good. We'll run through the grid more when we get into qualifying, but you can see we're loading in over what can usually be a very mixed weathered sort of city. Shanghai gets its rain just like the United Kingdom of Ireland, but it's a sunny day here for what would be a Saturday in Shanghai for qualifying, and we have 18 minutes to go till we see who will start on pole for the first race of the season.
Yes, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing who's going to be like that, and I wonder if anyone is going to carry on their form from pre-season, or if anyone's going to improve on what they didn't manage to do last week. All will be revealed in the next 18 minutes or so, and you're in the right place to find out some fantastic One Hub Racing action here.
Yeah, of course. We did have the pre-season last week, the pre-season race around Albert Park in Australia. It was a very interesting race, actually. We did learn a lot about some of the drivers. I'm just getting the results up now so we can run you through those. It was an interesting race, as I said. We had not as many drivers as we had tonight. We were missing a lot of the big names. We had a good performance from Jamie Mells on his debut. We had Tico, PSV. We had Merckx as well with a good performance. Namsco taking pole. We thought he'd run away with it. He absolutely did not in the end. It was the complete opposite, actually. He wasn't really in the running after a couple of safety cars. But we can read through the grid then for this season, the full updated grid. It's a Tico 10 PSV and Dutch Tricks in the Mercedes-AMG Formula 1 team. Then it's Ryderdale and the Confessor returning in the Red Bull Racing. It's Oriel J. Cole and ERT Larkin, two drivers who are usually teammates of One Hub Racing. They've been together for quite a while. Then if we head to McLaren, it's ERT Jinx and Ayoub. That is Ayoub Khan, who's currently first in the session. Of course, no lap times being set just yet. Then we head down to Alpine, and we have Corey, and we have ERT Timo. AlphaTauri is FBR AXA, the Frenchman, alongside a fellow Frenchman of One Namsco. Getting the One Hub brand out there, I love it. Head down to Aston Martin then, and we do have Owen Wyatt, followed by ERT Samba, also in the Aston Martin. Then we have I'm Mercked, or as you can see, it's just Mercked here on the gamer tags, alongside Cass. And then in Alfa Romeo it is Lakitu and Tony, and then it is the Scuderia Rosso boys. However, Scuderia Rosso, the esports team, did close down today, unfortunately, but they're still Scuderia Rosso. It's Tim and Jamie Mells in the Haas. We're getting ready to go in qualifying. Our first lap is actually going to be started right now. It's formerly ERT Samba. He's now ERT Nathan Samba because he's swapped to a PC. He's the full gamer tag there, and he's getting ready to go on his Aston Martin.
Yes, he's looking raring to go with his outlap there, and it's always a shame to hear when Scuderia Rosso has shut down, as you say, so that's a shame, and hopefully I'm sure they'll be more than okay, and I'm sure when they're ready to, they'll find a new place to go and call home. But for now, we are getting ready to start turning some wheels in anger and see how many people make some mistakes, especially with the camber corners that are coming up. Let's see how Samba can navigate them for the first flying lap through there of the day. He's doing pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, will it be a Samba dance, or will it be murder on the dance floor for Samba heading through these corners? It's a horrible section of track, almost as horrible as that last little dancing reference. But heading on to the back straight now comes Nathan, heading down towards the late braking of 14. Really, really heavy braking zone. Of course, sometimes the cars don't even make it as far as the braking zone. Sebastian Buemi finding that out the hard way. He lost his two front wheels, which was An interesting incident back in his Toro Rosso days. Here comes Samba for the opening lap of the session. If he can navigate this final corner well, very difficult corner. That quick flick to the left. Here comes Samba. Across the line will be a 32.3. Is the first man, or the first lap, sorry, to get on the board. AXA is the man purple. He's the man setting the purple time so far. Ooh, there's a lot of tasks not set up, so we could see some penalties after the race. That's a couple of drivers probably forgetting to do it. Whether they're new to one hub racing or not, the Confessor goes to second, 1:32.6. Not a bad lap for the Red Bullman, 2/10 off pole position. Will Casson goes 5/10 off, and then Corey just in behind. Look how close that one is. AXA rounding the final corner. Then we'll see, can this lap deliver like it has in the first and second sector? Absolutely. FER AXA up to the top, 1:32.0. That is a great lap. Here comes Merckx across the line, or is he just starting a lap? Merckx just starting a lap there. Apologies. A couple of the Haas's rounding the final few corners. Here comes Jamie Melz. Oh, he's just starting a lap time as well. What about Jinx? Can he get across the line for a time? He can. It's going to be 24 seconds off the pace, unfortunately. But I suppose it's still a time at the end of the day. Next man is Ryder Dahl.
Yes, it certainly is a time at the end of the day, and Ryder Dahl is a few moments. But I was watching the Haas teammate while you're seeing. Wow, I'm all over the place tonight. There's so much to do here tonight. It's going to be one of those races, I think. It's exciting. And I'm already forgetting where I am, but Ryder Dahl is rounding the final corner now. And a bit of a flick and a line. And he's only gone P6 for now, but I'm sure that will improve later. But all those in the 32 club, Jinx must have made a mistake somewhere with the 56.0. But I'm going to go back on board with the Haas as he finishes his lap and see
there
what
goes
kind
Tim.
of
Oh, second position. That's a good lap from Tim, but his teammate Jamie Melz is going that a little bit better. It was purple sector number 1 for Jamie Melz. Not quite purple sector 2. That still belongs to AXA. But we'll see what Jamie Melz can do. Can he challenge? As there goes Tico up to the top. Oh, that's not something Tico will be familiar with. He's not beaten the pole time. He's about a 10th off it, is Tico. Jamie Melz is still purple sector 1. Wasn't quite purple sector 2. We'll see what he can do here in sector number 3. It'll be an interesting one. J. Cole improving as Ayub Khan does as well. Not representative times, however, for those two. Here comes then Jamie Melz heading in towards turn 16. Merckx goes to second now. He beats Tico. That's so close! Huge slap for Jamie Melz. We're in the final corner and it's invalidated lap time, and that puts that effort right in the bin. Unfortunately for the Haas, he's made a huge mistake heading through the final corner, and that will be invalidated. That was Jinx gone to 7th for the McLaren. He was coming around just behind Jamie Melz, and that is Jinx gone to 7th. Currently AXA on top ahead of Merckx, Tico, Tim, Nathan Samba, the Confessor, Jinx, Will Casson, Corey, and then Ryder Dahl landing at the top 10, and the only 10 who do have representative times on the board. I expect something quicker from J. Cole as we see Ryder Dahl take a bit of a tip round.
Yes, I also expect to see something quicker from him, but it's always important to get a lap on the board in the early going of the session, because you never know if weather's going to change, or if anyone makes a mistake in front of you, or, you know, there's a multitude of reasons why you might not be able to improve later at all. So yeah, it's always important to get a lap time on the board, and Tony's just about to start a flying lap of his own.
Yeah, we'll see.
And Owen Wyatt will be shortly as well.
We see Tony going to start a lap now for the Alfa Romeo. It's an all dry in the race. I've just checked. It's a very overcast evening here in Shanghai as we see Mercedes flying to the pits behind. That's the Mercedes of Tico. Here comes Tony then in towards turn number 1. This is one of the longest corners in Formula 1 in your mind. It's not in real life, however. It's just a never-ending right-hander and then a flick to the left, and you've got to nail the traction if you want to get the best run down towards a very, very good corner for overtakes, actually. We've seen Daniel Ricciardo have a very famous move on Valtteri Bottas in the 2018 Chinese Grand Prix through here. 24-4. It's not a bad job there from Tony. Oh, he's made a mistake, actually. Forget that. Tony has he's made a mistake. Looked at the telemetry when it came back on. Tony had a snap of oversteer, and that's unfortunately seems to be the lap done just as quick as it started.
Yeah, that is always the perils here, especially with the tight twisty section there. You need high speed, but you can't have too much, because you do have some corners you need to be stable through as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how some of the drivers will be quicker than others in certain areas of the track, and that should make for a fantastic race in a little over 10 or so minutes as we approach just under 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Lakito is doing everything he can to warm his tyres up so he can go, and hopefully he can show his teammate on the other side of the garage how exactly you're meant to take that corner. But it is easily done to snatch a break or something on the way in to there. But yeah, you went for Daniel Ricciardo's move. I was thinking of calling the corner Stamp Corner, but I'm sure it's got an official name, but I can't really pronounce it.
Oh, I'm sure it has an official name, but again, there's not going to even be an attempt from this side of the commentary box as we're on board with Owen White. Normally a man quite good in qualifying is Owen White. The Aston Martin certainly has a few poles to his name here in One Hub Racing. A notable one for me was his pole last season out of nowhere in Hungary in the P2 tier, but won the race in Bahrain, of course, last season as well. But we expect a good result here from Owen White in China. He wants to start the season well. However, mistakes have been a unfortunately key element of his driving as he enters in towards the redubbed stamped corner. It's good for a sector for Owen White, and I was just looking at the delta times between AXA and Merckx. They are oh so close on track. They are oh so close in every sector. It's unbelievable how close AXA and Merckx have got, especially seeing the difference between the two consoles. In towards this very tricky left-hander now. It looks flat, absolutely is in qualifying, absolutely isn't in the race, depending on the race conditions. We gotta wait and see what they are, depending on track temperature sometimes. I've seen a lot of cars spin through there. 52 was the time in the middle sector for Owen White. It's not quite purple, but it's decent, and that's what you need in the earlier parts of qualifying. 8 minutes to go, so we're getting well into the final stages. However, this is a first real attempt for Owen White. We haven't seen him have a go at setting pole just yet in towards turn number 14, braking very late, and you want to hook the car in. It's quite a nice corner if you hook it up. That is an improvement there on the board. That's the Confessor who's gone to 4th. Good luck from the Red Bull there for the Confessor. There goes Owen White rounding the final corner. We'll see, can he challenge the top? It's a 32.7. It's P9 for Owen White. Not the worst time I've ever seen around Shanghai. He can certainly find a bit more time in it, as we see AXA finding a bit more time in his lap. It's very marginal so far for AXA. Seemed to make a little bit of a mistake in the first sector. Oh no, is he rounding to start a lap? Could be rounding to start a run. No, seems like the time is all good here. Sometimes there is a bit of a glitch where the outlap thing goes on the left hand side, very difficult to tell. Here comes AXA across the line. Now this is a run. It's very marginal improvement, but an improvement that could be quite crucial. Tico is improving well in the first sector as well. We need to keep an eye on him, and we'll see what Tim's improvement in the first sector is. Very marginal again. All these drivers just finding little bits of time here and there. Lakitu has gone to 7th in his Alfa Romeo, managed to complete the lap that his teammate couldn't. Will Casson improving by almost 0.3 of a second. That could bump him up to the top 5 potentially if he could find just that little bit more here in the final sector.
Yes, it's all about finding that little bit more when you need it, and yeah, there's certainly some room for improvement for most of these drivers today. I'm not entirely certain how much more Axel will need to improve by, but I've got a feeling he might need to find some more to get the pole position, but at the moment he is provisionally pole. He's done a great job, as you say, a small improvement, but I'm just looking forward to seeing the rest of these guys figure out where the ultimate grip is and see what kind of lap times we can do today.
Looking forward to see this one. This is Tico across the line, and he smashes that pole lap. First man in towards the 31s. It's a 31.908 for Tico. Let's see what Merck's response is. Currently heading through the S's second sector. Very tricky couple of corners. I mean, all the corners are kind of difficult around this one. It's not an easy track to hook up. Of course, it's named after, it's designed after, apologies, the Shang character in the Chinese alphabet, and that of course means to ascend, and hence why the name Shanghai as well. It's kind of reminiscent of it. If they wanted to get it exactly perfect, they didn't do the best of jobs. However, they've provided a good racing track, and I suppose that's all you can ask for. Merckx improving in the second sector, and that's what he wants to see as the Williams heads down the longest straight on the circuit. And braking for turn number 14. You think you can brake, or you think you have to brake a lot earlier than you can into that corner. It's really one that throws the mind off, and we'll see some dive bombs into there in the race where people have gone a little bit too late, I imagine. Here comes Merckx across the line. We'll see what the Williams can do. It's across the line. It's pole position. It's a 31.854 for Merckx, and despite not being in a Merck, he's beaten the Merck, and Merckx goes to the top.
Yes, last time we was checking in, I was about to say, I wonder if anyone's going to get into the 31s, and then Tico did exactly that just before I could say it, and it's gone a little bit darker overhead, so is there going to be any chance of light rain in this session? I'm wondering that. Looks like it should be okay, but just never count it out.
J. Cole improving on his last run, however, he did not improve a position, so it seems like this might be the genuine pace for the P2 champion of last season. I'm trying to remember, is he changing his, whether he's on a wheel or a pad or not, because that could be another reason for the pace change, or whether it's just a PlayStation to PC thing. Of course, there's a few drivers who were here last season who've swapped onto a different console. Anyways, here comes Ayub Khan. Oh, great lap from Ayub. He's gone to 5th position. That's a good lap from Ayub Khan in the McLaren. And he well beats his teammate Jinx there. He was quite a substantial margin behind. However, he's found about 1.8 seconds on his lap and goes to 5th.
Yeah, that is a fantastic improvement there in the 32-3 club, which you have quite a few members of today. And in lower tiers, that could well have been good enough for the front of the grid. But in this tier, of course, it's not quite good enough today. But it's still a solid effort with just under 4 minutes to go of the session. And people are just managing to reset themselves, get on a fresh set of boots for the final few moments where they or potentially could run into each other, as there's going to be a lot of traffic to navigate on your final flying run of the day, if indeed you so choose to do another run.
Yeah, seen Tico go out very early, seen a few drivers go out early here. Was going to say Ayub Khan's the only man out on track. However, we do have Corey out on the circuit. We're going to have Tico, the Confessor as well, is going to follow them out. And there's going to be a McLaren out there as well. That's Jinx, not Ayub Khan. Ayub Khan, I think, is done for the day, unfortunately. Cannot see him getting back round for another attempt at the Shanghai International Circuit. And I think that'll be that for the McLaren, currently situated in 5th position. The clouds are definitely getting duller, and there's no rain in the forecast. However, this is a CODEMASTERS game, so anything could really happen. We have to wait and see. Tico, currently, just over half a tenth off pole position. He's been half a tenth off pole position. However, it was Axa who was in front of him. It's now Merkt who is in front. And it's going to be a close battle for pole position here. Whether Axa has any more in that lap is a good question, because he didn't really improve on his second banker. We'll see what he can do in his final one run, the one that really counts.
Yes, we will also see what everyone will do when the one that really counts, as everyone is just back on track now. I think that's going to do a run. Everyone is back out there. There is still quite a few seconds left for people to leave the pit lane, of course, but it's looking like quite a few of the cars that may be deciding that's enough for me for the qualifying session. I'm going to focus on the race. We just go underneath. 2 minutes to go here in One Hub Racing, and it is fantastic to be back. I've missed this.
Me too. I've definitely missed this. 2 minutes to go in One Hub Racing in qualifying, but anything can really happen in the race in One Hub. That is the magic of it. Tico is going to start his final qualifying lap heading into turn number 1. It's a 31.854 as the lap to beat, set by Merkt in the Williams. Could be a championship rival in the making. Could be a championship battle in the making, this Tico and Merkt. If you're wondering what the thing on the left hand side of the screen is, apologies, that's actually Tony inviting someone to the lobby, so we may have one more driver here in the field. Good 1 and 2 by Tico. What can he do down here in the braking zone? Improvement, not enough in the first sector as he outbroke himself a little bit. No, takes a late apex through there, and Tico just gets the car rotated in nicely heading in towards the SS section. You gotta commit through here in your final run. You have to take it! Oh, at absolutely maximum pace. Tico's taking it too fast, and Tico unfortunately spun round. And is that going to be curtains? Will he get round for another attempt? We'll have to wait and see, but that's not the mistake he would have wanted. He shredded those tyres and now has to vacate the area for all the guys on flying laps behind. Keep an eye on the two Hasses as well, their starting runs. Keep an eye on Nathan Samba as well, and Will Casson. He improved big on his last lap. Whether he can improve big, he's wobbling all over the place. Keep an eye on Axa then as well. Axa just starting a run. Axa will only have one bite of the cherry, as well as the Confessor, who's rounding in towards the final couple of corners. That's a big mistake for Tico. Oh, White with a mistake as well. He's cutting some grass there in the second sector. What about Corey? What's Corey doing on his run? Of course, we're all just starting the final runs. Will we see if Tico's going to get round again? No, he's not. Tico is not going to get round again. He's cutting corners to try and make it, but there's only 7 seconds on the clock, and Tico is not going to do it. Merkt is slightly improving. Tico retires on circuit. What's Axa doing in the first sector? Needs a big run here, does Axa, if he wants to take pole position, as Jinx has just gone to second. It gets even closer at the top. It's an 8/10 improvement by Jinx. Axa is up in the first sector here. It's about a 1/10 for Axa in the first couple of corners. Let's see Merkt sector 2 as he is approaching the split time. Big improvements for Merkt in the middle sector. Will Axa respond? respond? We'll have to wait and see. We'll keep an eye on the Delta Times for you, folks, and see if he does respond. Tico is out of this one. We gotta wait and see what the rest of the front runners can do. Here's Axa crossing. He has responded, as that's Will Casson who's gone to 5th, good run for the Williams. That's Tim who's gone to 5th and beats him. Keep an eye on Jamie Mells' run. Here's Jamie Mells to the line. He goes on pole position in the hat. We said keep an eye on him. Certainly do, because it's a 31.5 for Jamie Mells. Can Merckx respond somehow? That's a shock to the system for the Williams team, who thought they had this one in the bag. Here's Merck to the line. Can he respond? Oh, he can't. Merck cannot respond. What about Axa for the final corner? Jamie Mells has put it on top when it counts. Can Axa somehow go to the top? We'll see as he rounds through the final corner at turn 16. Runs a little bit wide. Does he keep it valid? Absolutely does not. And it might have just been Haas stealing pole position in the dying moments. What about the Confessor? Can he put it up there? No, he cannot. He doesn't improve on his position. Ayub Khan not improving as well either. What about Lakitu? Can he find some time? Finds a 10th. No positional improvement. J. Cole to the line. He'll go to 13th. Jamie Mells will take his first pole position here in One Hub Racing. It's a shock pole that no one predicted. 31.523 is the first ever pole time here of the season in the P1 tier. Jamie Mells will start on pole position for the ERT Shanghai Grand Prix.
Yes, that was quite a lap there from Jamie, and well done to him. But Merck did actually improve by 2.5 tenths on his final lap, but he just wasn't quite enough. But that is such fine margins which we spoke about at the top of the qualifying session, and that is one of the finest qualifying sessions we'll see of the season. I think we'll have more, but at the moment that's the best one of the season.
Well done, Jamie Mells. That is an unbelievable pole position that he has stolen off Merckx, Tico and Axa right at the death. Jamie Mells might just be one to watch here in One Hub Racing. The Haas will start on pole position. It's a Haas-Williams front row. You didn't think you'd see that in a 2022 grid. Merckx will start from 2nd ahead of Jinx in 3rd. Tico will start from 4th ahead of Nathan Samba in 5th. Axa will start from 6th ahead of Tim in 7th. And then Will Casson drops to 8th ahead of Ryder Dahl, the Swede, in 9th. The Confessor will start his return in 10th ahead of Ayub Khan in 11th. Namsco, disappointing qualifying from Namsco. Thought we'd be seeing him up there. He starts 12th ahead of J. Cole in 13th. Lakitu 14th, followed by Timo in 15th. Owen Wyatt 16th. Corey in 17th. And then Tony, unfortunately, didn't get a lap in on the board. Whether that was due to some admin duties or not, we don't really know, but he was inviting a few people during the session. But Tony will start from the back. I'll now hand it back over to Matthew to hear from our sponsors.
Yes, and yes, as always, we have some fantastic, wonderful partners and sponsors here. I will start with the sponsors as I usually do. We have Next Level Racing, who sponsor the league by providing prizes, and Pure Sim Gear sponsor the league by providing a new product not launched yet to the driver with the most podiums. So that is a very cool prize. And of course, Gamergoo back on board for another season, who sponsor the league by providing Gamergoo samples to the trophy winners. And Aztec Sim Sports sponsor the league by providing a multitude of prizes with different ways to win them. For example, the driver with the most fastest laps will win a set of Forte pedals, and the driver with the shortest combined qualifying time wins a set of pedals and boots. And of course, our wonderful partners here at One Hub Racing are Vespertine, who support our official apparel, ERT partner, the ERT Go and Get Stuff Award and the league trophies. And of course, we are powered by SimGrid. We run our seasons through their community and platform. And some could say you could put that in a one hub just to find everything that we need to do every week for races and other facts. So thank you. And of course, an extended shout out to the TAS people who've been working hard through the off season to get it back and ready for use tonight for us here in the commentary box. So thank you to them and everyone I've just mentioned, and I'm looking forward to this race very, very much.
Me too, and I really, really want to congratulate you. That was a fantastic pun you worked in there. That was very well. Tonight, folks, we normally rush in the start. However, we do have a formation lap on this evening. It's been turned back on. Formation lap seems to be working. I say seems, just in case something goes wrong, like it usually does. But, of course, the drivers all do have to wait to ready up. Of course, we've seen ready up penalties decide championships in the past, so you don't want to receive a 5-second time penalty for readying up too early. However, the Chinese Grand Prix will be getting underway very soon around the Shanghai International Circuit. It's a crowd capacity of about 200,000, a circuit that cost $500 million to build, in a total $500 million US dollars, that is, to build the whole complex and compound and the circuit, the stands and the lot. and it hosts, or can host, for the city of Shanghai, that is just neighbouring. 24 million population there, so there's quite a few people who might like Formula 1 in that city. We're just waiting to go here in an overcast Shanghai. It's not the nicest of days. It's warm, I'd say, because it's usually quite warm in these parts. However, it's certainly not sun-splitting. The Stones, however, Matthew, who do you think's going to win this one?
Well, I think it's a lot can be learnt on the first few quarters, I think. You might have someone from outside the top 10 who may start on the mediums. That could have a good advantage, but I think the preferred strategy would be anyone to go soft, medium here, because if you start on the soft and there's a very early safety car, you can also have one stop serve there and change to an alternate strategy which could provide you an advantage. I don't know if I can venture a name at the moment. I will do that on the formation lap when I see what everyone is going to be starting with.
Yeah, of course, different here in One Hub 2 other racing leagues. It's a two-stop, folks. There's also engine wear, but first race of the season, that's not really going to come into play too much this evening. It still come into play because if you DNF, I believe you do get some engine damage. We are just waiting to go. Seems like we've been here long enough, and we're just going to wait to see the ready up. I'll have a check of the chat now to see can we get going. Tony is the one who is running this tonight or something. Oh, and we have some news. Just seen a message from Jess there. Of course, Jessica Ball, the one of the admins. 7 task penalties this evening. 7. So
that has to be a record.
Yeah, that's definitely a record. We're loading in now. We'll get ready to go on the formation lap.
Thanks, Jess.
I'm going to hope it's none of the front. Actually, I can tell you who it is because we'll be able to tell you on the formation lap who'll be receiving task penalties. It was nobody who qualified in the top 10, I believe. I have all the names here. That's funny. So, we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. Anyways, here is the formation lap for the opening round of the season. We'll see what tyres everybody is on. It's a rainbow. I'm surprised there's no intermediates and wets thrown in there. That's how much of a rainbow it is. So Jamie Mells will be starting from pole position on the medium compound of tyres. Of course, good race in Melbourne. Kind of bottled it a little bit, some say. However, there was a great scrap between himself and Tico on the final lap in Albert Park to decide the win in the pre-season race. Merckx will be starting on the softs in the Williams. He'll get the better launch and would probably lead into turn 1, but Jinx then on the hards in 3rd place. Good qualifying from Jinx, the lead ERT runner here in the no assists tier. Tico will start from 4th on softs. He'll get a good launch as well. Ahead of Nathan Samba in 5th. There's your predicted pit stop strategy. On the bottom, it's of course, has to be a 2-stop in One Hub Racing, so you can ignore that front one. AXA will start 6th after being on pole for a lot of the session, so disappointing end to the session possibly for AXA. Tim then on the mediums as well. Will Casson will start on the soft compound tyres, with Ryder Dahl starting on the mediums in 9th. The Confessor will start from 10th ahead of Ayub Khan in 11th on the hard compound tyres. Namsco on the softs ahead of J. Cole, Lakitu, Tebow, and then in the mediums, Owen White will start 16th on the soft, Corey on the mediums in 17th, and Tony will start this Grand Prix from the back on the mediums in 18th position.
Yes, and I think I'm going to put some pressure on one of these drivers to think who's going to win the race, and I'm going to say it's going to be Lakitu from P14, storms through the field to win the race, so keep an eye out for Lakitu today.
I think there's bold and then there's that. However, I will happily be proven wrong. Of course, drivers can do well from the back. Mark Webber, his grid position of 18th in 2011 was the lowest anyone got it on the podium from. He finished 3rd that day, gaining 15 spots. That is the lowest. And I remember Max Verstappen had a great start in 2017. Not too sure where he started from. I think it could have been 17th. However, he did a great race start in some interconditions that day. Hopefully, we can see some good race starts here from maybe Tony, maybe Corey. We'll definitely see a good start from Owen White on the softs, and we'll definitely see a good start from Namsco on the softs as well, because he's some hard runners in front. There's hard runner of Ayub Khan who's actually standing alongside him. So we're lining up in the grid then. Tony is going to get us set at the back. Of course, you have to park yourself now in the Formula 1 game. Nice little addition, I think. Here we go then, folks. We're in Shanghai. 3, 4, 5 red lights. We go racing here in China. Brilliant race launch from Merckx. He's already in towards P1. Jinx is going to try go around the outside of our pole sitter, Jamie Mills. Nathan Samba with a brilliant launch up the inside on the medium compound of tyres. Here we go then in towards the downhill turn number 3. Jinx all over the road. Jamie Mills all over the road. Side by side with teammate Tim here on the opening lap. It's a bit of a hectic start. Don't think we've any major losses down the back as Tim and Tico side by side. Here comes Tim trying around the outside. Tico going to hold it on the inside on the soft compound tyres. And Tico is going to keep P3. Bit of a dive from Will Casson on the back of the softs as well. The softs will drop off really quickly. However, they'll be very, very good for the opening stages of the Grand Prix. Will Casson trying to hold it the long way around the outside of Jamie Mills. This is an optimistic move from the Williams Racing driver. However, he's got it done. And that is an excellent piece of driving, excellent bit of craft there from the Williams of Will to get that job done. Some big losses. It's the poleman. It's Jamie Mills. Everybody in the top 5 passing him. And it's Merck who leads in towards the third sector for the opening lap. Nathan Samba in second ahead of Tico, Tim, Will Casson, Jamie Mills, Jinx, Axa, Ryder, Dal, Ayub Khan, Namsco and the Confessor going side by side. The Confessor's been shoved off the circuit. Don't think he'll be happy about that one. He's side by side with Owen Wyatt here, heading round the banked corner, kind of banked corner. The Aston Martin takes the spot for the time being. Axa and Jinx battling down towards turn 14. There's going to be a bit of a move from Jamie Mills and Will Casson. We've seen these two scrap already this lap. Is Jamie going to be able to hold it around the outside? Doesn't seem like he can. Jinx is going to try and get the job done. Jamie Mills going for a switchback side by side through turn 16 possibly. No, Jamie Mills backs out. He's a smarter man than that to go for it, but he may go for it in towards turn number 1 here. Very hectic opening lap in One Hub Racing. We expect nothing less. We love nothing less, and that's a fastest lap of the race for Tim, who's in 4th. I don't know how that's made sense, but Tim is trying to run it up the inside of Tico for P3. Very hectic opening lap.
Yes, that is quite a strange anomaly there. The person in 4th sets the first fastest lap of the race. I don't quite understand who's missed a few corners for that to happen, but nevertheless, yeah, it's...
is that Jamie Mills again at the inside? Takes an early apex. You kind of want to take a bit of a late apex, except if your name is Jamie Mills, because he's got the run on Will Casson, and he's trying to hold it around the outside, what Will did on the previous lap to himself. It's not going to work, though, on this occasion, and Jamie Mills is going to have to just sit behind.
Yep, he'll have to be more than happy just to sit there for now because the move didn't work, but I'm sure just keep up the momentum. He'll be able to perhaps force the driver ahead into a small mistake, and you can utilise that and just gather data on your drivers now. It's been a while since One Hub has actually raced around this circuit.
Oh, bit of contact here between Timo and Owen Wyatt. It seemed like there was a bit of desync. I hope that's not an issue. Ayub Khan's actually off the road here. Ayub Khan on the hard compound tyres is actually off the road, and he's down to the back. He's lost the most positions out of anyone so far in the Grand Prix, and it's unfortunate for Ayub because he had a decent qualifying. He's down 7 to 18th. Namsco up the inside of Ryder Dab. He said it was a poor qualifying from Namsco. However, he's picked up the pace now, and Namsco is up 3 to 19. Biggest gainer so far in the Chinese Grand Prix, and that belongs to Owen Wyatt, who is up 5 to P11.
Yes, it's always good to start picking up positions, but as I was going to say, we certainly haven't raced with this formulation of cars around this track before, so it's all a learning experience for everyone. Where you can overtake, it might be slightly different to the last time you raced, but rest assured we're looking forward to finding out exactly where the limit is in these brand new cars.
Yeah, of course, brand new cars. You're absolutely spot on. We've never raced with this combination before. It's that a huge move up the inside from Jamie Mills. Really impatient behind Will Casson. He could just sit behind for a bit. He's not losing that much time, and Will is on much better tyres for the time being. However, they'll certainly fade away before the end of Jamie's stint on the mediums. Is he going to try and hook one up the inside? This is a bold move. No, Jamie Mills very racy at this stage in the race. It's not working out, and there's almost contact between the Haas and the Williams. Jamie Mills just about avoiding it, and Will Casson, he's all over the road a little bit through that sector, but he seems to have recovered now, and Will Casson will still keep P5. Gap up the front did break a second. However, Nathan Samba's he's already gaining on those mediums. Soft's already falling off here in the early stages. Oh, big spin! Will Casson's gone round over the curb. That's a very unusual spin for the Williams. It seemed like he just got the power down. Bit of wheel sliding, and Will Casson's gone round, and the Williams, very unfortunate, was running 5th, now 14th. Now 15th. J. Cole's past him.
Yeah, but it's always unfortunate when...
Oh, Namsco and Jinx. Namsco rubbing his racing certainly is the law from Namsco, and he's gone up the inside, and Namsco's already up to 6th here. Forget that poor qualifying. Namsco doing really well, and Link's huge snap. He's caught it quite exceptionally. Spinner on the back. It's Corey who's gone round as we see Ryder Dahl past Jinx, and Corey's gone round in the back. and that is Jinx, who has just lost a spot to Ryder. This is getting very, very close here in the opening laps. These guys are not shy of a battle.
Oh, certainly not, and that's what we've come to expect of the last...
Jinx all over the place, and there's cars going left and right of him. The Confessor's got to look to pick up a move here, and Owen Wyatt has got the job done. The Confessor's got the job done, and Jinx has lost 3 spaces in a couple of corners there because of 2 of his own mistakes. Unfortunate for the McLaren, but that's what happens when you make a mistake in Grand Prix racing. Up the front, this is getting very close. 0.5 of a second between Nathan Samba and Merckx. This could be a battle heading on to the longest straight on the circuit.
Yeah, you always want to try and battle into the longest straight on the circuit, but Corey made a small mistake on the previous lap, as we all saw there. He managed to do an instance similar to Alex Albon when he was at the what was the Toro Rosso, and of course Giovinazzi did the same thing when it was wet. He just pushed it a little bit too hard and just spiraled into the opposite wall. But Corey, I don't think, has any damage. I can't really tell on the car if he has or not, but I think he's okay. I think he got away with one there.
Jinx teeing up a move on the Confessor, not quite close enough. It would have been a huge dive if he had gone for it, but the Confessor is just gonna try and defend his spot. Hold on a second, Merckx already in. Very early stop for the Williams. It looks like Tico's in as well. These softs have not lasted as long as they'd like, and they're already in here on lap 5 out of 28. What tyres are the front runners gonna go for? We'll go on board with Tico. We'll find out quicker from him. He's gone for the mediums. And Merckx, is he going to go for the same? He is gone for, oh, can't quite see, looks like the mediums. It is the medium compounded tyres as Jamie Mells sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Jamie Mells actually down to 12th here, so he must have got caught up in something, actually.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way, doesn't it? I'm trying to figure out if he got held up in the pit lane or whatever, because
no, it hasn't
there was
pit.
quite a few people in there, but I'm not really sure if that was the issue or if he just had a slow in lap or whatever. But he's down in P12, but he's made...
he hasn't pitted, so he's been caught up in something.
Yeah.
He's definitely been caught up in something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it was, but something's gone on anyways. Namsco will be looking to get into pits, as it looks like Merckx has already dispatched Tony. Oh, not quite sure if Tony's actually here. That looks an AI car.
Yeah, I noticed it a few corners ago, actually. I think he's AI, but yeah, I don't think Jamie or anyone down there has any damage, so I think it's... just an incident that we haven't seen he's got caught up in, but maybe running a little bit deep or something on the brakes. But Lakitu up into P9 from outside the top 10, so that's a great start for him. And Jinx must feel like he's got a bit of an advantage being the only one in the top 10 on the hard tyre at this point, but Khan in 11th also feels he could do something later on in this race.
Oh, very twitchy from Timo in front of Lakitu. Lakitu was almost... He was almost licking his lips at a P8 there, but yeah, very good from Lakitu. I think Jamie Mells might have gone deep, as you said, because he was looking very agitated in the early parts of this Grand Prix. Jinx on the hard compound tyres is he's running well behind the Confessor here. We saw he made 2 early moves on the hards, but I think that's just because that tyre is not good in an early part of a race when everyone else is on much quicker. Corey into the pits now. That's a really early stop on the mediums. It's not going to be optimal for Corey. He's going to go for another set of the mediums, and I imagine a set of softs come the end of the race. However, that is an early pit stop.
Yes, it is, and I didn't see a front wing being changed there, so that's definitely a strange decision, but he's got his early stop out of the way. One of the 2 mandatory, of course. If you weren't with us for the qualifying session, we do have 2 mandatory pit stops in all races here at One Up Racing, whether it's wet or dry, so that sort of evens up the field a little bit. If there's an incident, you can always find yourself right back in the heart of the battle for the big points here at One Up Racing, which is very cool. Every position matters because you have points all the way down to P12, and of course a fastest lap inside and outside the top 10, so that is very much a favourite of mine, because that is how I got my first points in One Up Racing, was a point outside the top 10 for fastest lap.
Here comes Lakitu. Lakitu's got past Timo, and Timo was all over the shop in the second and third sector, and Lakitu has made mincemeat of that Alpine, and he's got past it. That's a great little move for the Alfa Romeo. Slow off the exit. Good Timo, look back. Surprised Namsco. Oh, Namsco's finally into the pits. I was going to say surprised he's staying out still. But Namsco finally in for the AlphaTauri team. Axel running third. They were the best performing team so far. Best performing team now is Rotterdam and the Confessor in Red Bull. The Confessor joining late, of course, joined after the pre-season race. However, he's been teamed up with Ryder Dahl, and that's a strong outfit I think that's a very strong outfit, actually. We'll see where Namsko comes out. Is he going to come out ahead or behind Tico? Oh, it's going to be well behind Tico still. So Namsko still has work to do in this one if he wants to get onto the podium placings.
Yes, a lot of work to do here in round one for Namsko, but there's a lot of work still to do for everyone here. We're only on lap 7, and I'm having screen freezes here in the commentary box, so that's not ideal for me. I wonder how the drivers will cope in that situation if they had a speed freeze. But Jinx up into P6 on the hard tyre is well placed to mount a serious challenge for a massive position today. I don't want to commentate his courtesy, so we'll not say what you're all thinking. That's on you if it happens, because I didn't say it.
I think if the drivers had a screen freeze, they would not be as calm as you are. That is one thing for certain. Closest battle on the circuit so far is Axa and Tim for P2. Nathan Samba running really well up the top. He's leading by 2.9 seconds. However, we do still have some pit stops to make. Yellow flag. That's unfortunately Corey. Oh, Corey's out of the race. Could see a safety car here. Drivers are getting ready. Nathan Samba leaving it as late as possible. Turn into the apex. I think we're going to be all good. Oh, he's actually retired on the circuit as Corey. So, no safety car. You'll also pick up a penalty for that. I don't believe you're allowed to do that. However, if I am wrong, I do apologise. But you cannot retire on the circuit. That's not really driver, I suppose you could say, code of conduct. However, that's Corey, first retirement of the season, and the Alpine will not be scoring any points today.
Yeah, you're quite right. You are not allowed to retire on track like that. If you do have to retire in a race, we prefer to do it in the pit lane, but that will be, I'm sure, looked at by the steward by default. But yeah, that's regardless, that's a retirement for Corey, and we're down to 17 runners here on lap 8.
Yeah, 17 runners, lap 8 of 28. Still lots of racing here in One Hub Racing. If you're enjoying it, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and pop a comment if you're watching. There's not many, so do pop a comment if you are watching, and let us know who you're cheering for. We love to see some chat engagement. We love reading it out. And yeah, we'll definitely read out what you've got to say about the Grand Prix. Axa, he's got something to say, that is for sure. He's on the back of Tim. Not working a move so far. Tim seems to have good pace despite Axa having DRS. If you could go late on the brakes, maybe into 14, that could be a good little option for Axa. However, it's not working out for the time being.
No, it's not working out for the time being, but as you say, there's plenty of time for that to change. I'm just keeping an eye on the lower reaches of the top 10 to see if there's any battles worth keeping an eye on at the moment. No, but the gap is coming
swap
down.
For Red Bull. The Red Bulls are battling here, actually. It's Ryder Dahl and the Confessor side by side. Wasn't sure if that was a team order, but doesn't seem to be. Seems like the Confessor just has the better pace and has gone past Ryder Dahl. That's a good move for the Confessor on his return. He's up to 4th.
Yes, I think that was just more underlying pace there for the Confessor, and I think maybe Ryder Dahl just didn't fight it as hard as he could have. If it was someone that wasn't in Red Bull, he would have fought a lot harder there, but nevertheless, Confessor up into P4, and that is a fantastic start to his season, being a late call up to this tier.
Lakitu seems to have made a mistake there. There's no front wing damage on the Alfa Romeo, however, he's dropped the spot, and there was a yellow flag briefly. Just looked like a bit of a half spin, really, for Lakitu. Not too sure what happened to him, but yeah, he's lost a spot and lost some time. Unfortunate for Lakitu. Was running well, apologies. And now he's under pressure from J. Cole, who seems to be struggling through the corners. There may be some front wing damage, and Jamie Mells is all over the back of J. Cole as well. This is a little Ferrari-powered inter-team battle here between the Alfa Romeo, the Ferrari, and the Haas.
Yes, that is quite a fascinating picture, actually, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo and Haas having a battle like that. It's going to be interesting to see which car uses the Ferrari engine the best. At the moment, it looks like Lakitu, but as you say, made a bit of a small mistake and dropped a position, but he's still there or thereabouts. Does he have... Yes, he does. He does have DRS, luckily for him, so he could get some of the damage done from that half spin back into Timo, but he'll still stay behind him. And maybe try a late lunge into turn 1 would be a little bit foolish at this venture of the race, but it's definitely possible to do it there. But you need two drivers to cooperate.
J. Cole in. Fun fact, actually, by the way, unrealistic performance. Of course, this is an equal performance league, but unrealistic performance. Lakitu's actually gone for the turn one. We'll hold that thought. Side by side here with Timo and Lakitu. The Alfa Romeo's got the job done. Great little move from Lakitu there. He's got it done into turn number one. Just had a lot of straight line speed. But unrealistic performance. The Haas is actually the best in the straight line of the Ferrari powered cars, which is quite surprising. Oh, what else is surprising is Timo. He's gone round on the grass and he's had a spin through that corner where we saw Lakitu make a mistake on the last lap. Timo has followed him and Timo has dropped out of the top 10 with Tico getting past the commentator's nightmare of that little duo. But Tico unfortunately overtaking Timo to live Timo's nightmare of having a spin here on lap 10 of the opening round of the season. Unfortunate, but he'll recover.
Yes, I'm sure he'll recover, but that's certainly not unlike any of the previous races in different tiers here at World Hub Racing. I saw quite a few of those similar sort of incidents down in the P3 tier, which started at 6:15, as we do every week. And this race is, I'm sure, we'll have quite a few more incidents like that.
Side by side, Lakitu and Jamie Mells. Sorry, never mind. Jamie Mells has got it done. Great little move. I'll let you continue on that one. Jamie Mells has got that one done. Is AXA going to have a dive? No, AXA cannot do my little catchphrase of great little move for some reason. Tim, oh, he's all over the track there, kicking up the rear, left, right and centre. Maybe these medium tyres are just starting to struggle.
Yes, they look like they...
Yeah, here comes AXA. Those mediums are struggling on Tim as we see Ryder Dahl and Jinx actually into the pits. Early stop for Jinx. Those hard tyres not doing as big a stint as he's like, and AXA is now up into second position. The FE Orman for AlphaTauri is now 3.6 adrift of Nathan Samba, and that's going to be his goal to claw in.
Yep, there's 4 in the pit lane there. I'm sure they're going to go for another set of mediums there. A medium to medium, and then softs at the end would be the preferred strategy, and I'm sure they're looking forward to later on. Of course, soft tyres didn't start the race well, but they will finish it, as the cars will be a definite load lighter than they were at the start, so the soft tyres could have handled the reduced weight and be a little bit quicker and grippier, of course. But Namsco,
Namsco, great send up the inside. Namsco has got the job done. He's ran it up the inside of the Alpine and the older tyres, and Namsco, good move on the brakes. He has got that job done, and now he's going to chase after Tico, who's chasing after Merckx. Merckx still in the provisional lead of this Grand Prix. He's been running really well in 5th. But still, as we said many times, lots of work to do if you want to win around Shanghai. It's a track you've got to keep your focus on.
Oh yeah, even a brief lapse of concentration could be catastrophic for any driver in any tier, because you see some of the high-speed corners and the barriers pretty close as well. So if you're not on your game, you could end up eating one of those barriers at some point if you are a little bit off it mentally. But of course, just looking ahead, you have a couple of the first 4 cars on track to make a pit stop. But Confessor is not one of them. He's going to go for another lap, and he's certainly having a fantastic return to World Hub Racing.
He certainly is, and thank you to all who are watching. It's softs for Nathan Samba. So, for those who are watching, this is going to get interesting, because Nathan's trying something different. He's gone for the soft compound tyres. He's going to be very quick. Where will he come out in the pits? He's going to come out just behind Namsco, and on those soft compound tyres, I think he could take him, because Samba is running very well in this Grand Prix so far. We await and see where Timo will come out. He's going to come out actually in front of Tony's AI car and second last position in this one. Timo having that spin. He's one of the few to make a mistake this evening. It's going to cost him here. It's going to cost him dearly. He's come out a bit behind Ayub Khan in 16th position, 9.4 seconds to be exact, as we're looking at Owen Wyatt on the back of a recently out of the pit Tim, who is really struggling with traction this Grand Prix. That's one thing I've noticed.
Yes, he seems to be very uneasy about putting the throttle down in areas where you wouldn't usually expect it, but I don't see any damage, but maybe he's damaged the floor or something that we're not privy to, but perhaps the Taz can tell us a little bit more a little bit later on. But he's definitely struggling at this phase of the race, and it's certainly worrying to see. But Owen Wyatt will not care about that one bit. He's just going to put the hammer down. He's in the DRS range. I'm sure he'll go flying by the end of the braking zone of this straight.
Speaking of flying by, here's Samba. He's flown past Namsco. Not even a challenge. Samba's got those softs up to temperature oh so quickly, and the Aston Martin is already past the AlphaTauri. Whether Samba can make these softs work and catch up to Tico and put himself He had a chance of this one, certainly. Oh, huge battle here. Ryder Dahl and Jamie Mells and Will Casson. It's free wide in towards turn 14. Will Casson's gone around the outside of Ryder Dahl. Jamie Mells has got a move done in the process there, and Ryder Dahl's lost 2 into 1. Made a mistake as well as Ryder Dahl, and Will Casson will definitely have that move now. Jamie Mells has made a position there, and it looks like the Confessor is going to come out in the middle of this one. The Red Bull. Oh, he's got in front. The Confessor's well in front of Jamie Mells. However, he does have hard tyres to heat up, so the Confessor will invite himself into this battle, unfortunately. That's not what he wants, but he will do it because he's on those hards. He's got to get them up to temperature, and they're a slower tyre. So we'll see what Jamie Mells can do. Jamie's made a pit stop now as we are almost at the halfway point in this Grand Prix. We'll see what happens. The Confessor, oh so slow, and the Haas is going to have to try around the outside here of the Red Bullman on his return. We'll see how this one plays out. Jamie, he's got to try swap in and out. He got overtaken at this point on the track earlier on in the race by Will Casson, the man just behind him. We'll see, can he get the Confessor here? He's going to wait for the straight, it seems. Not as agitated as earlier. Might go for a dive in towards this little chicane up here.
Yes, that seems to be a likely place for him to try it, but if not, he'll just probably go by on the DRS down into the braking zone. But we've seen moves in places where you might not necessarily expect it, like a few laps ago into turn 1 you had that great overtake there.
There we go, yeah, easy.
It is possible.
Easy for Jamie Mells. And it's going to be easy for Ryder Dahl. One Red Bull's being overtaken. One Red Bull is going to overtake Will Casson. Much better straight line speed, actually, than first thought. And Ryder Dahl's going to have to go late on the brakes up the inside. Oh, he's almost hit his teammate on the brakes. He's going to go down the inside. Bit of a block pass on Will Casson there. And Ryder Dahl is through and up to 11th position. Good move by the Red Bullman. Good racecraft, as when we get halfway through this lap, we will reach the halfway point in this Grand Prix. Tico is in for his second pit stop, so this is going to be the medium tyres till the end of the race for Tico, I imagine.
Yeah, if it was about a little couple of, maybe a lap or two early for my money, but of course there's a reason why I'm not in this here, I'm just watching them. But that is definitely a brave move to make at this part of the race. But if he comes back to get on the podium, you're going to remember his lap 14 pit stop to go on to the next set of mediums, which will go to the end. But of course there's still a lot of racing to go, 50%, which means there's still quite a lot of racing to go. But Owen Wyatt up into P6 gets past his man eventually, and he's got to be hassling AXA just ahead of him, just a little bit outside the DRS. I think he's not going to get it on this lap, but he is gaining all the time. But AXA and Tim are probably going to be someone's to watch into the braking zone after the massive straight. So let's see who comes out ahead. I think Tim may well just be able to keep ahead. He looks a little bit too far ahead for AXA to get past him, unless he doesn't brake at all, but he will, because yeah, he's smarter like that. And a little bit of a puff of brake dust there as he heavy braking zone.
Oh, here's Lakitu. He's going for a move up the inside towards turn 14. This is on Will Casson, who is dropping like a stone on these old medium tyres. He's going to have to want to box and change them. Here we go, side by side to the final corner. Oh, it's oh so close. Lakitu tries to hang around the outside, ran off onto the Armco sponsorship, and now Lakitu is going to not get that spot. I suppose he can't really take it off the circuit. He's going to have to wait for a later point in the lap to get past that man on the old tyres, as that looks like it's Timo. It's both Alpines having some trouble here, and that is Timo who is spun, exiting turn number 15, it looks like.
Yes, he's certainly got a little bit on the power, a little bit too early perhaps. I didn't see contact, I don't see damage, so I think he's just had a bit of a rear slide, which has caused him to spin the car around. But it's a race to forget for the Alpine team, and I'm sure they'll be back and they're stronger next week. But Mert is way out in front now, and Samba is flying on those soft tyres. You saw him put them on earlier, so he's going to be wants to watch for the final few laps of the race. But at the moment, he is in a great position. Could it be greater by the time he stops again? We'll find out shortly. But Tim and AXA are going to be at it again, and AXA looks a little bit closer than he was the last time around.
Certainly is closer. Using the battery as well as AXA, and he's going to look for this one on Tim. He's been stuck behind Tim for a lot of this race. Got the move done eventually, but here comes AXA. Oh, he's flying past that battery on the Red Bull powertrains powered AlphaTauri. is it's running in full motion. Move here as well. Jinx up the inside of Owen Wyatt. Jinx on the much fresher mediums, gets the job done, and looks like Tico's going to pass Jaco. Looks like Lakitu's finally going to get the job done on Will Casson. Not going to be side by side in towards the final corner this time. Surely Will's going to think about pitting soon. Those mediums are not feeling... Ah, there we go. I was going to say those mediums won't be feeling too nice. Will Casson into the box now.
Yep, Lakitu did a good thing though. He went off track and didn't pull a Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi the past 2 years. He stayed behind and waited for his opportunity to make the move, which may have hindered his race a little bit, but that is the right and sporting thing to do. So shout out to Lakitu for that. He's sitting in P11, still in a good position, still in the points, of course. Reminder, points down to P12 here in one hub racing, but I'm good to see what that yellow flag is all about.
I'm not too sure what that yellow flag's about. I think it could have been just Will Casson exiting the pits. Speaking of Lewis Hamilton, by the way, most successful driver around Shanghai. He has more than double anybody else's wins. He's taken 6 wins in 2008, 2011, 2014, 18... 15, 17 and 19. Daniel Ricciardo, of course, winning in 2018. For Red Bull, Jamie Mells has been a man who's made moves since he dropped off. Well, he dropped off the first 5 positions in the opening lap. Started on pole, was 6th by the end of lap number 1. He's now 8th, looking for 7th on Owen Wyatt and the much fresher tyres. I think we'll allow the Haas to just fly past.
Yes, Owen doesn't make it easy, of course. He does have some pretty good top-line speed, but the DRS makes all the difference there for Jamie Mells in that overtake up into P7, and he'll be hassling Jinx before too long. They are on similar tyres, but I think Jamie Mells is a little bit quicker than the McLaren.
All is in.
Yeah.
All is in, and so is Mark. Thanks to the comment from... user called Max Verstappen. I can't imagine it's the real Max, but if it is, hi Max, I'm a big fan. It is equal cars, yes, we are equal cars here in One Hub Racing. That makes the playing field really even in this no assists P1 tier, and it makes the racing fantastic, like we have seen tonight. We see Merckx actually. Hold on a second here, Matthew. Merckx has come out of the pits behind Tico. Tico has got the undercut on his race rival.
That's you don't usually see it 3 laps behind, but yeah, so Merck may have had a little bit of an issue when he was battling on maybe his in-lap or something, but Tico is certainly ahead of him, as you see, and it's not even close at the moment. I'm not sure what happened there, but Merck down in P12, Tico 11th, and Ayub Khan pitted earlier on the mediums is up into P10, and looking like, he's certainly giving up the position to Lakitu, but the other McLaren, as I said, is still holding off Jamie Mells only just, and I think we're about to see another position change with the DRS.
I think so. Jamie Mells has made an awful lot of overtakes this race. Is he going to dive up the inside of Jinx? It's going to have to be a lot braver than his previous ones. Late on the brakes goes Jamie Mells, and down the inside goes the Haas. Some terrible camera angles, and we apologise for that, but as we get a better one, Jamie Mells is going to lead on the exit. Is Jinx going to keep up the inside? This is optimistic. Is he going to keep a tyre up the inside into 16? He absolutely is not, and Jamie Mells is going to get that position for P5. We've Nathan Samba and Namsko into the pits now, and is going to drop them down the order a bit. They'll be going near to Merckx and Tico, but of course remember, 2 pit stops and an awful lot of guys still to make that second one. Merckx and Tico have got out well ahead of Nathan Samba and Namsko, and Samba, he's gone for the hard compound tyres here, so that's it's going to be a tricky one till the end of the race.
So clearly he's not picked balance setup in the lobby. Then he's gone for harder or something, because why wouldn't you put on a second set of mediums?
Yeah, I think that's a mistake. I think there's a mistake definitely in tyre selection, or whether in picking his tyres at the start of the race, because I would have definitely gone for another set of mediums. Would have made the end from here. It's Tico almost spinning. We just caught on board with him as he's attacking Ayub Khan, and almost taking a tip round. Merckx is catching him, so he's under pressure. The battle for the potential race win. It's currently Axet who's leading from Tim, and then Jamie Mells. However, they both, I do believe, have one stop to make. We'll have a look. There it is. Yes, so everybody above Tico still has a stop to make, and the only one below Tico with a stop to make, that is ERT Timo. We saw him have a spin earlier on in the Grand Prix, and unfortunately it's not going to be the best of results for him.
No, but finishing is a positive result, even if you've had a shocking race. It's always good to build a little bit of confidence, and of course, this is a bit of the unknown this week. This track, brand new, well, as we mentioned earlier, brand new cars around this track for the first time in a while on this calendar as well. But I'm sure people will be right back at home next week on a more familiar surrounding. But that is then. We still have some fantastic action still to come over the last 9 or so laps here at One Hub Racing, and I'm still sticking with my choice earlier. He's not looking too bad right now, although he does have a penalty I've just noticed as well, so that could hinder him towards the end, especially if there's a late safety car. But for now, I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this race, and we say that a lot, but it's generally true most weeks here. We have no idea who's going to win. We think we might know, but then some strange, funky, weird stuff happens, and you never really know until everyone has crossed the line, and even then, sometimes it takes a steward's inquiry to change the result further. So that is why we always say it's a provisional result. And yeah, this is a fantastic race, and I'm looking forward to seeing the final half of it. Well, what's left of the race anyway. It's great to see, but Lakitu has to do some defending now, as Tico is right on his tail.
Tico on his tail. This is Lakitu's existence, I suppose you could say, has helped Merckx, because he's now within the DRS of the Mercedes. Here comes Tico up the inside of Lakitu. Of course, he's a pit stop ahead, is Tico. He's technically our provisional race leader at this point. Now Merckx has to work to get past Lakitu. Just quickly, while we're waiting on the battle, thanks for the comments. There's a comment there, how to join the ACC League, I believe it was. Oh, no, we no longer do ACC. Apologies for that. I thought we still did, as Jinx is into the pits. Thanks to an admin for covering me off there. I thought we still had an ACC league. But anyways, if you want to join our Discord server, it's the first link in the description. Feel free to join, have a chat in the general section, and maybe join the F1 League in the future if you do play the game. Lakitu playing the game here for Tico, though, because he's in front of Merck, and Merck does not look like he's going to get the job done into here. He could have done with getting the job done into here. Him and Tico both setting personal best sectors all around the laps. That just shows how much these two guys are pushing. Of course, Merck's tyres are much better than Tico's here. He went for an early stop. He went on lap 14, I believe. So Tico with a lot of work to do. Merck with work to do as well, because he's got to get past Lakitu and get on the back of that Mercedes pretty quickly. As here comes Merckx. Can he possibly go up the inside of Lakitu? This is a prime zone. It's late on the brakes. Is he going to make contact with Lakitu? Lakitu slams the door shut, just about leaving enough space for the Williams. This is not helping Merck's chances at winning this Grand Prix, and Tico is going to be the one who's got to run off in the distance a little bit, and now Merck needs to get this one done in towards turn number 14. If anyone's a football fan out there, the USA and England drew 0-0, as here comes Merck up the inside now of Lakitu. Lakitu's defending for his life for this one. He really wants this P7 without making the second pit stop, which I presume he'll be doing about this lap, because the mediums are definitely a good tire to the end. No, he stays out. And I've just thought of something, Matthew. I'm not sure the Confessor knows it's a two-stop. That might be the reason for a hard tire choice.
It would be surprising if he didn't know it was a two-stop, but we've seen that happen before. Returning drivers just forget, or in the heat of the moment or whatever, but I'm sure he's got a plan, but I'm starting to get a little bit worried. You have that feeling that maybe he's forgotten.
Jinx has gone round through turn number 1, and just as we go on board with the McLaren, Jinx has sent himself spinning through turn number 1 and 2, and he's come back on the track quite literally inside his teammate's car. So that's how close the two McLaren teammates are. We haven't seen the two McLaren teammates that close on track yet this race. However, Jinx taking a spin round on a fresh set of mediums. It's unfortunate, because he did so well on that hard stint earlier on in the Grand Prix, but all that work's been undone. And speaking of hard stints, Nathan Samba starting to struggle on his, as Namsco is right behind the Aston Martin.
Yes, you can see Samba is struggling, but yeah, it's still a strange call to me why he'd go on hard at that juncture of the race, but I'm sure he'll explain later in his post-race interviews, of course. But he's a little bit wide there, coming out of that corner. That's never going to help. It's not
Here
the
we
ideal
go.
line.
Namsco gaining a lot in the straight. Is this going to be last of the late breakers, or is this one just going to be done even before we reach the braking zone? The AlphaTauri up the inside of the Aston Martin. Easy as you like. Namsco nails his braking as the Confessor is in, so I apologise for ever doubting you, the Confessor, in knowing the pit strategy. He is into the pits, and it'll be mediums or softs to the end because he has used that hard compound tyre. Tico has dispatched Ryder down now, so Tico, another car between himself and his race rival, Merckx. And that is no slouch as well. Ryder Dahl, very good driver.
Yes, very good driver, as are all of these in this tier, of course, but you see there, Confessor out on the medium tyres in P11, so still in the points. As you say, mediums or softer, that is fine either way, but I guess he's gone a little bit more conservative. And Lakitu still in P5, will probably pit this time around for his second time, but he's put in a
Jinx
great
and Will Casson. Will and Jinx here having a battle, and so is Abe Khan getting involved in this one. We saw Will go for a move here in the opening lap of the Grand Prix at this corner on the McLaren. Is Jinx gonna return the favour? No, he is not, but he might get back, because I think no matter what point I've had a look at Will, as he's been on older tyres than anyone he's battled with at any point in this Grand Prix, and I'm not too sure why. Yellow flag, that is for Timo, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's miserable day. He's just got a little bit worse for the Alpine, but he's managed to keep it out of the barriers. I think there's no damage there, so just a bit of embarrassment in facing the wrong way again. Maybe he does have rear or floor damage, I don't know. He seems to be spinning an awful lot even for that, and even then he's squirrely out of the corner, so he's not happy on these tyres, but I think you'll see him in the pit lane. And
Ryder Dahl's in. Jamie Mells has got past Owen Wyatt. Jamie, the man on the move, he's now 9th, chasing his teammate. Tico and Merckx are now 1-2 on the track, with Namsco P3, Nathan Samba 4. Axa, is he going to come out 5 or 6? He's going to come out 6, just ahead of Jamie Mells on a fresh set of softs. He's going to be attacking Tim. He's come out behind Tim again. So,
there you go.
Axa is going to be very bored of that big Haas font on the back of the front ring in front of him. He has saw that a lot today, but the battle up the front, 0.5 of a second. Bit of a difference in the tyres, however, they'll both not be feeling great at this point in the race.
Yes, in other leagues I used to say bring your book for turn 1, and especially in the case of Axa and Tim, and sure, Axa's certainly sick of seeing the word Haas, so maybe he would have bought a small novel just to get on with as he takes the everlasting turn 1, but in all seriousness, this has been a fantastic battle between the two of them. But Tim's tyres are 2 laps old. That shouldn't be an issue, but it could well be Axa's advantage at this point to finish in the top 5 of this race.
Here we go, the Merckx, he's looking. He is looking. He's just waiting, but he's looking. We'll see, can the Williams win? Of course, couldn't get one over on Tico in the pre-season race, but the pre-season race is not where points are scored, and that's what Merckx will be thinking in the back of his head. As we await and see, we head on to lap 24 out of 28. The excitement is just building here. Merckx holding off just that little bit. We'll pop down the order for a second and see is there any moves in towards turn 14. There's a right old train at the back here. It goes from Ayub Khan, or goes from Jinx, apologies, right down to Lakitu. That's a huge train, and that is a points scoring train. Of course, here in One Hub Racing, you score points for the top 14 positions, and there's also a fastest lap in the top 10 and outside the top 10. Axa has dismantled Tim on the fresher softs, and the AlphaTauri is finally through on SR Tim. And Tim now is going to be left defending an inter-team battle with his teammate Jamie Mells, who's he's not shy of an overtake. Is one thing we have saw this evening.
Oh, absolutely. He's never shy of an overtake, but he's certainly been more than happy to show off his overtaking abilities tonight. But Lakitu needs to do an awful lot of overtaking if he's to salvage anything from this race. He's down in P15, but he is on the better tyre out of anyone outside the top 10, apart from Ryder Dahl, who's on the same tyre, but I think Lakitu's had slightly better pace than Ryder Dahl today, so it's going to be interesting to see how far into the top 10 Lakitu.
Oh, Jinx! All of a sudden stops on the circuit, and he sent his teammate off the road. Ryder Dahl almost smashing into the back, and Ayub Khan. I'm not too sure what's happened to Ayub Khan there. Really not too sure. Thankfully ghosted. Seems like he's had some software issues maybe, but Ayub Khan is off the road, and Whew, that was close between Jinx, Ryder and Ayoub Khan, but thankfully all are okay. Mercked 0.3 of a second on Tico. Tico's holding on for dear life on these old mediums.
Can I come back out from behind the sofa? Because that was properly scary.
That was a scary one. Very, very glad not to see anyone's race ruined there, because that could have been very, very close. Here we go then. Mercked is looking to try and attack Tico. This is the big battle, as Tom Robbo, a previous One Hub Racing race winner, had a great race around China once. I remember him and his old teammate and old rival Montana back 2 seasons ago. It was a great little scrap. He's here to cheer on Nathan Samba. Not too sure if he'll be cheering on his last season's rival Tico, and whether we see Mercked taking the win or not, we have to wait and see. Lap 25 out of 28, certainly waiting for it is the Williams, a very successful Williams team. Of course, we throw back to that season 19. Is a very, very successful Williams team. Mercedes, not the most winningest constructor. Winningest is a word, by the way, seemingly, and I've only used it because I wanted to use it. Winningest is a word, and I'm not too sure in what context it should ever be used apart from that one. Here comes Mercked then, back to the serious stuff. Here comes Mercked, he's going for it up the inside. This is going to be a move up the inside for the Williams. How is Tico going to play his cards here? Oh, no way he's going to play his cards. He has been cleaned out as Tico, unless he can somehow get a switchback on Mercked. Tico in the older tyres. Mercked has got the job done for the race lead here in One Hub Racing, and on lap 25 going on to 26, Mercked leads once again here around the Shanghai International Circuit. Whether Tico can keep with him, well, we'll find out. Well, we'll find out in about half a lap's time, because we'll see what the DRS is. Going on to the longest straight. That's Timo out of the Grand Prix. What a time this will be for a safety car. Don't think we'll get one though, however, because we do have 2 little laps left. You can see there's the Alpine pulled off to the left hand side. Double DNF for Alpine, only cars to not finish this Grand Prix. I know Tony's is an AI, but he's technically still finishing. So it's a horrible, horrible day, horrible opener for the Alpine team.
Yes, it's we've all been there, we've all had bad opening days, and I'm sure they'll bounce back a little bit better next week. And yeah, it's also curious to see what Tony's real pace would have been, because I haven't really seen it today. He's been AI pretty much the whole race as well, so that's something that we need to try and figure out how to fix for next week. But whatever happens, I'm sure you can call it an experience and a learning experience, but yeah, it's never ideal when you have a double DNF at your first race of the season.
Tico is driving the wheels off this Mercedes, as that's another issue for Ayoub Khan. The battery is exactly even between Mercked and between Tico. Tico, he is struggling on these tyres. Nathan Samba is teeing up a move here on Namsco. Her tyre starting to work well. No battery in either of those cars, and AXA is right behind as well. So Nathan Samba, I suppose they say in old football term, attack is the best form of defence. Samba is going to have to bring that into Formula 1, which is not something we ever see a crossover of. Penultimate lap then. This is where it starts to get interesting. Who is going to be desperate and who is just going to settle for what they've got? How many more eggs can they fit in their basket? Well, we'll find out, and this is why One Hub Racing is brilliant, because we do not know who's going to win this race. I can report one of the people who's going to get a TAS penalty. It is going to be Nathan Samba, because his TAS, it is saying player 4, none of the top 3 under investigation, and the other man is going to be SR Tim, and he's driven a great race as well, so that's unfortunate to see.
That is going to be unfortunate to see, and it's always going to be interesting to try and figure out the provisional results based upon that. But it's taken nothing away from the drive that he's had. It's been fantastic, but unfortunately the stewards will be knocking on your door.
Ayoub Khan, 5 seconds for speeding in the pits. I feel there is a retirement coming, maybe, or unless it's a fastest lap attempt. But Tico, he's almost a second out of Mercked now. I think Mercked might have this one wrapped up. 1,397 metre long flat out section, that is this straight. Tico just can't get down it fast enough to be with a shot of this race win. The battle here though is whether AXA can somehow make these soft tyres work compared to Nathan Samba's hards. Nathan he's driven really well in this one. I know he did have softs when everyone else was on mediums. He did gain a bit, but he suffered on this hard tyres, and he's going to suffer for beauty, as they say, because it's going to be a beautiful result for Nathan Samba, even if he does pick up a 5-second time penalty. The Aston Martin's one to watch this season. That's a yellow flag for Will Casson, I believe. Heading in towards turn number 12.
Yeah, he's done a very late stop. He's trying to get the fastest lap point.
Battle here, Owen Wyatt and the Confessor, side by side in the final lap. The Confessor's going to run up the inside of Owen Wyatt, and that's a great move. On a good return for the Confessor, and the Red Bull has got the job done. Good move from the Confessor. He's into the top 8, and unless Owen Wyatt can keep with him on those older scrubbed tyres, the Confessor will keep that P8. Final couple of corners then. Tico has dropped out of the DRS. He's in and out, he's in and out.
Oh dear.
Oh no, what's happened? Owen Wyatt. And he's not made a mistake, and it's the first race in quite a while. Owen Wyatt's not really made a mistake, and it's going to cost him, unfortunately, here. But rounding the final couple of corners, Merckx is not going to be overtaken in this one. Unless something drastic happens. Namsko's not going to be able to catch Tico. Whether Nathan Samba's going to run one up the inside of Namsko, that's another question. He might well do it. Might try that Max Verstappen move from 2018, the not so successful one on Sebastian Vettel. No, not close enough here. He would be a madman to do it. Rounding the final corner then here in the Shanghai International Circuit. It's an unusual season opener, but it's not an unusual face. Merckx, he's been quick all day, and he'll take the win here in China in the opening round of the season. Tico will come across second, and Namsko, great recovery onto the podium. We said recoveries were possible, and just like Mark Webber in 2011, Namsko comes back onto the podium. Jamie Mells crosses the line in 6th, Tim will cross the line in 7th, the Confessor with a good return will cross the line in 8th, and Jinx is going to cross the line in 9th. Ryder Dahl just got Lakito on the last lap for the final top 10 finishing position. He would have got it anyways because of a penalty, and Owen Wyatt will come across. He'll come across 10th after that actually, and J. Cole will get 12th. Will Casson will come across in 14th, however he's pushing for a fastest lap, I believe. Of course, there's a fastest lap for outside the top 10 as well, and I think that's what Will Casson is pushing for. Of course, it's himself and Ayub Khan, the only two. Ayub Khan's actually got purple in sector number 2, so it's a bit of a fastest lap battle. There's battles all over the field here in One Hub Racing, and it does not end when you have a spin. Here comes Will Casson. Can he take the fastest lap of the Grand Prix? He can. Great lap from Will. Takes the fastest lap with a 1:33.662. What about Ayub Khan? What could he do? Can he beat the fastest lap? And qualifying may have been over an hour or so ago, but we still have hot laps being punted in, and I think that's going to be the end of that for Ayub Khan. Tony then, of course, finishing 16th. However, it was not... Well, I was going to say it's not a great race for Tony. However, I don't think it was even a race for Tony. He's been AI the whole time. But Merckx will stand on the top pedestal of the podium for the Williams Racing team, who return to glory in the One Hub P1 tier. And Merckx will take the opening win ahead of Tico. 1.6 seconds in the end. It's quite a margin, but Merckx wins it.
Yeah, what a brilliant performance there for several of these drivers, but that's a solid win, and in-game driver of the day goes to Namsko. We'll talk about ours after the provisional results, which are coming up very shortly.
Here is your podium celebration, if it would like to load. We will get to see the Williams on the top step. JB Mells has left the session early, so he not happy with his race. Started on pole. It was a shock pole for Jamie Mells, so fair play.
Yes, it was a shock pole, but he's certainly gone back down a little. But yeah,
here we go.
I see the order now, so I think I'm back to you.
Here we go then. First for the podium, we'll let... what is that dance? That is scandalous. On the podium for the Williams. I know there was the griddy added and that, but that is something else. Williams celebrate anyways here in One Hub Racing. They tasted a lot of glory in recent years, and they'll taste even more of it in the P1 tier, with Merckx challenging for a title, it seems, on the PC. Would be the first ever PC, would be the first ever non-PS champion, because it's the first season without crossplay. But here is the full race results then in China. Merckx wins ahead of Tico in P2. Namsco P3, Nathan Samba in P4. These are provisional courses. We do believe Nathan Samba will receive a TAS penalty. AXA in 5th, followed by Jamie Mells in 6th. Tim in 7th. The Confessor in 8th, followed by Ryder Dahl in 9th. And Owen Wyatt rounds out the top 10, finishing 10th from 16th on the grid. Jinx in 11th, followed by Jay Cole in 12th. Lakitu finishes 13th, ahead of Will Casson in 14th. And then it was Ayob Khan in 16th, ahead of Tony. Thibaut and Corey, your non-finishers in that one, both for the Alpine side. But now we do have to pick our drivers of the day. Matthew, I'll hand it over to you first.
All right, thank you. It's been a fantastic race, as we've just seen, and as always, there's quite a few candidates that we could go towards. I'm going to not steal your pick. I don't think you're going to pick this person, but I think it's worthy of a shout-out to pick the Confessor as my driver of the day.
You actually did steal my pick.
Wow, how have I done that?
Oh, that was funny. But I'll let you continue.
Yeah, the question I'd like to ask the Confessor is, do you feel that with a little bit more time to acclimatise to the tier, you could potentially be heading towards the top 5?
I think for my driver of the day, I'm going to go for my other nominee. I'm going to have to go for Namsco, and I'm just going to ask him a pretty simple question. Did your good strategy help get the podium today? But great race here in the One Hub P1 tier, and of course you can join more action from the Portimao International Circuit in the Algarve next week. Very sunny, should be more sunny than China. It's a shame we don't get to fly out to Algarve for a little November break. But Matthew, what's your final thoughts on that one, and what are you looking forward to for next week?
Well, yes, it is. My final thoughts is it's a shame we definitely can't go to the Algarve and watch a one-hole race around the track. But yeah, it's been a fantastic way to get back into the one-hole racing season, and I'm very much looking forward to next week to see how we continue.
Should be a great one, and thank you very much for tuning in, folks. We do hope you join us next week for all the One Hub racing tiers. Of course, it's an excellent season ahead of us. My name is Evan Dalton. I was joined by Matthew, and thank you very, very much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.